What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves.
Hi, what's up? Welcome to another great episode of the All Around. I am your gracious host, Dr. Anthony, and we have some amazing topics that we're going to discuss tonight. We also have in the building the beautiful Miss Ida B, and of course, my producer, Mark Lee. So without any further ado and hesitation, let's go ahead and bring out Ida.
Hey, everybody. Cool. I had to run and put on some clothes real quick. Going to Vegas in a couple of days, and I've been detoxing. And I think the moment I said I'm going to detox, I started ruining my diet. I just finished smashing up a bundt cake. I said, "You're going."
Oh my God! I just had one as well.
I said, "You," and now I'm trying to do like now, presenting my protein shake. So I guess I'm gonna be in the bathroom all night with me and my cake. So how you doing, honey bun?
I'm good. How are you? How was your weekend?
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Big hair, don't care. I love summer. I love summer. It's my favorite time of the year. And I love summer like this. I'm looking out the window. I said, the sun is beautiful. As soon as I got, I was like, oh my God, I want to die. It's too hot. So yeah. So what you been up to? I'm steady trolling you.
I'm not bringing you out, Mark.
Come on over here, Mark.
No, I had a quick question for y'all because I agree. I am a summer baby born in July, and I definitely love the heat.
I'm a May
some
baby.
festivals like the right there in the heart of July, like right around 4th of July weekend and all in that space. But, a lot of times when we think of us as a people, we come from definitely an area of the continent that oftentimes was very warm. Not saying all of Africa is warm, but there's some parts that are cooler than others. So I'm oftentimes wondering, like, why do we always complain about heat? I know part of it has to do with that whole tolling in the plantation and all in that space, but we did come from areas that were known for heat and all in that space. So I'm going like, why do we talk as bad about the heat as we do, since it's supposed to be part of our bloodline and all in that space? But I was wondering your thoughts, Ida, because I do know that the equator does go by quite a few of those African nations, and it's a little toasty there.
Before I did you is the show populated on the live shows? Because I got people texting me saying that they can't see the show.
It is populated on live, and we're going to see what's going on with your page as well, but it should be on all those. But I'm going to double check and make sure that it's going all the places that it's supposed to go and all in that way. So we're going to make sure that it goes in all those places, because we kind of have folks talking about you and then seeing what's going on and all in that way. So we're going to make sure that happens. And it looks like there might have been a glitch, but the glitch has been taken care of. So your fans should be quite happy and should be seeing you left and right and all in that kind of space.
But, the people down south said, come on in the room. Come on in the room. But we were sun-kissed, and our white counterpart are sun-lover. The sun kissed us. We have what other people desire. And a couple of years ago, I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me I was vitamin D deficient. I was like, what is that? She said, Ida, you need to go in the sun. I said, I am the sun. What are you talking about? I am the sun. And she said, Black people, even though culturally where we came from, we get less sun than any other race. So she would say, from 10 to 12, I want you to go out in the sun for 10 to 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, get out. I can't. I said, I'm sun-kissed. She said, but most Black people, we're vitamin D deficient because we don't get enough sun. And, when I think about Dr. A and her perpetual tan, because she got that melanin, and she goes to these warm places and she, and so I have been making it my business to go to warmer climates. I was born, I'm a Libra, I'm a fall baby, and I love fall. I love wearing a sweater. But yeah, I love the sun. Like I was telling her, I love the sun from the inside of my air-conditioned house. I was like, oh, look at that sun. Yeah. Isn't it gorgeous?
I am definitely vitamin D deficient. So I'm taking medicine right now because I'm severely vitamin D deficient. Because, I don't like being outside. Like, although I like going to the beach, I just don't like being outside, and when I'm at the beach, I take pictures because I don't like the sand in between my toes. That irritates the hell out of me. And then like this last trip we went on, I forgot my beach shoes. So it was, yeah.
Dr. Anthony, hold on a second. I got to clarify on this and everything. So, because I am very much of a non-swimmer. My dad is a great swimmer and has had to be even better swimming because of some of his past health concerns and all of that. But he definitely gets by the pool on a regular basis. But me and doing laps is not going to happen because I am not swimming efficient. It's not a skill set that I picked up and all on that way. But I do like when I go to the beach, walking by and having that feeling of the sand on your feet, unlike you and all in that space. So I know some folks that definitely enjoy the feeling of the sand and the water on their feet and everything. I don't know if Ida is in that category, but definitely I do know some folks that enjoy that. So I am one of those that will even collect shells and do other things while on the beach and try to do it cautiously because you never can tell what else might be there along with the shells and all in that space. But I was just wondering, what is this aversion to ocean sand?
I also think our aversion as African American is tied to how we came to America. Right. I joined the Marines, and Marine, you think is water, could not swim a lick, and it kept me from. I had to choose between drill instructor and recruiter because I couldn't pass the swim test. I could wow. I do a set of jokes. They throw me in the water, and so I'm yelling and screaming, and the drill instructor said, "You got a buoy in the back." So I'm looking around, and that's when I realized, as a woman, technically speaking, I should not be able to drown because of how God designed women, our hips. And when I shut the hello up, and then I buoy up, and I stopped drowning, I passed the exam. And so so I have 55 things I'm going to learn before I turn 55. And learning to swim is one of them. I personally don't want to be afraid of anything. I haven't been afraid of anything since I went to boot camp. But the fact that when I go to the beach, I'm the person with a floppy head, with a beautiful bikini on, with a book, with an umbrella, and I don't want to be bothered. My sister is I think she's Aquawoman. She's like Dr. A. All the vacations seem to be around water. And I get drag along. And I say, now I'm real black and I can't swim. You must be the mulatto light skin. And she could swim, and she challenged me on, you need to, and that's the only thing in life that I have not overcome. And I don't want to say a fear of swimming. I just don't care for water being in my nose and all of that. And she just scuba diving and snorkeling and all of that. And I said, if God wanted that, I would have gills.
Well, I like going to the beach. Like I said, I do not like the sand in between my toes, so I always buy beach shoes. This last time I forgot my beach shoes, so I was.
Dr. A looked like a Sports Illustrated model every time you see.
Well, I mean, we won't even talk about how she was looking when she did that school event and everything. But that being said, there was a documentary that was actually one that we had the pleasure of showing here at Haytide that y'all would have been interested in because it is actually called Whitewash, and it was a documentary released back in 2011, but it was actually exploring the complexity of race in America through the struggles and triumphs of Black surfers, because there was definitely a culture of Black surfing, and actually one of the members of the Roots was actually one of the folks that was involved in that particular movie, because it was talking about how surfing is something that we as a culture have gotten involved in as well, and we don't always have it acknowledged and all in that space. So it was definitely looking at California, Hawaii, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and other places that definitely have a strong cultural of surfing, and it is sometimes not something that we oftentimes think about as something that we would be involved in, but that is something that we got involved in, and that is a movie that folks might want to check out. I remember showing that almost a decade ago, and all in that line. And along those same lines, and I know we got some videos that we're going to get to and everything, do y'all ever wonder about some things that we are involved in that are totally out of our organization and our thoughts? Like, I have never been one to go skiing. I'm not a cold weather person. Like y'all are not into certain hot weather. I'm not really a cold weather person, even though I went to college in Milwaukee. So some people be like, that's a contradiction, but that's my life and my narrative and all in that space. But that being said, I know that there was those very popular black skiing trips. People would be going to these skiing things and having all of these things going on. I'm going like, I don't even think that that's part of our culture. That sounds like something you do in Switzerland or someplace.
I mean, I think it is a part of our culture, to be honest with you. I mean, and it depends on, where you live or whatever. Quite naturally, I'm from the South, so, I'm not about to be, talking about, oh, let me get on the next train trying to go skiing. But I mean, I will do it just to say that I've done it. But you actually have a lot of Black people that actually ski, and a lot of Black people that are actually acclimated to, the skiing, just like the swimming. You do have a lot of Black people who actually swim. I just happen to be one of those that my mom did not let me go to the pool. She was just like, you're not getting in that water with them dirty little kids. You know what I'm saying? So I can swim a little bit, but I can't swim good enough to be out in the ocean and all of that by myself. So like I typically just go to my knees and things like that or whatever. And, call it a day when it comes to, like being at the beach. Although I love being at the beach. I don't like the sand in between my toes. I do want to experience skiing just to say that I did it. I probably wouldn't go with a large company of people, a large group, maybe, like myself, the boyfriend or whomever, and maybe some other people or just, some close friends, just to say that I attempted it and I did it, but not to just be like, oh, this is a every year thing. This is what I'm going to do. This is part of me now. No, I'll do it once, but that's about it.
That's it. Hey,
I have good news for you.
What's good news?
They're bringing an indoor ski resort to Lorton, Virginia, to Northern Virginia. They're bringing it's going. So we have, and I have done that. You got 12 weeks of nonsense, 12 weeks of breaking your spirit. I went to cold weather trip, Wisconsin, the coldest part other than Alaska, and I do know how to ski. And it was so funny. The first part of learning to ski is learning how to fall. I said, I naturally know how to fall. So what are you talking about? And they had, and it is an art. And like I said, I like how Mark brings up these things. Even though I couldn't swim, I was adamant that I will make sure my nieces and nephew, and I paid for them to take swimming classes. So now when I go out on activity, zip lining, and so if I think the moment I have a fear, now zip lining, my lungs are so strong that day, so strong. And like you said, I do think culturally, we have I can count on my hands how many what I call proficient Black women.
Yeah, I'm sorry, they're still saying that they can't find the show.
I don't know why they can't find it because it is definitely on your Facebook and on your YouTube. So I don't know, and it's definitely airing on the Roku as well and on Pod TV. So I don't know why they can't find it. So let me go to podtv.tv and see what's going on there. But it's definitely on all of those locations and all in that space. So let me double check and see what's happening in that regard. Hey,
I'm sorry, I had several people text me to say that
and we definitely want our folks to be watching it and everything. But Ida, along those same lines as I do some of this research, does it really count if you do it indoor? Because you mentioned that it's an indoor ski resort, and I know that there's indoor like rock climbing and indoor mountain climbing and a number of other things. And sometimes people are wondering how much does that count if you are doing it in the safety of the indoors and all of that versus the traditional way of doing it the hard way and all in that space.
The hard way? Are you doubting me, Mark? No, I think it allows people to get acclimated, and it allows people, and even though it's indoor, I think it's going to be like on I don't know how many acres of land. And I'm going to invite you up, Mark and T. We're going to all do it as for a group event. White folks make us do called team building event. Team building and go off to these things. And like I said, I have 55 things I'm going to do before I'm 55. And you know how they have that list on Facebook, things you've done, tattoos, different stuff. And you'd be amazed. I just had recently a friend died of pancreatic cancer, and on his deathbed, he talked as he was dying things he wished he did anyway. Even if what you call a bucket list or check the box, we do get set in our way. And I think we do have certain things culturally. No offense, Dr. A. Like I realized that I could not go to certain countries because I didn't like the food. I went to Aruba and Cancun, and I realized I hadn't even eaten. Don't come for me. I'm going to say I don't even like Taco Bell, but I like Chipotle. But my Latino friends said, that's not real Mexican food. And so food ties us together. I think food, music, but I don't think exercise and cultural things. I know. What do we appropriate from other cultures? I don't have anything from another culture that I want.
I don't
Because
appropriate anything from anybody.
Being black is a whole vibe.
I mean, blackness is a whole vibe. I'm a whole vibe. I'm the blueprint. They want to look like me. I don't want to look like them. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing that they have that I want, and nothing that I acclimate myself to. Because we set the standard, we set the bar, we set the tone. So they're always trying to look like me. They're always trying to look like you. They want the full lips. They want the curvy waist. They want the nice ass. They want the black men. They want all of that. So why should I want to adapt to their culture in wearethebomb.com over here? I get frequently asked nowadays, oh my God, are your freckles real? I mean, I've had them all my life since birth. So, well, tattoos. Well, that's not me. I've had them all my life. So I get that.
They used to say that to me. Oh my God, is that your booty? Oh my God, is that your booty? It is. And it's thinking of culture. DC Young, a comedian in our area, baby mother, wifey, actually died from having complication from BBL. And we call her mommy makeover and all these procedures of what dying. I call it dying to be black. Me and you constantly have the conversation how the Kardashian cashed in on the black culture and have continued to be a vulture about culture. But we do have women, and now we're having our black women, which is just like a couple of weeks ago, we had about me getting my teeth straightened out. And, and we talk about self-confidence or self-esteem. And do you have the right to improve something that bothers you? Yes. But, so people running to these countries, Miami, Georgia, that's the United States, or the DR, and they getting all of this work done. And I think it does come at a price. I think it comes at a price to the younger people that you're telling your child, I don't like how I look. So therefore, I think that passes on in different stuff. And what do you think about DC yesterday when our plane tried to come into our space?
Okay. So you said a lot of stuff. Let's unpack. Let's back it up. Okay. So we're going to address the plastic surgery because, we talked about this with Kanye West's mom. And a lot of people don't understand you have to do your research with plastic surgery, especially when you're getting, fatty tissue removed out of your body. And a lot of these people who are going out of the country, these people are not board certified. Here in America, they have to pass, board certification. They have to be board certified. They have to pass certain rules. They have to do, all this stuff in order to become that plastic surgeon. And so a lot of these people going to these other countries because they were denied in America. And the thing about it is, they can only take a certain amount of body fat out of your body. And so it goes with your weight, your body fat. Even when I got my breasts done, they were saying, oh, well, your breast got to be a certain size or whatever, because we can only remove a certain amount out of your body. And then he was like, if you're okay with that, then we can move forward with, your procedure. And I was okay with it or whatever, because it had to be done. It was medically necessary. But a lot of people not understanding that, when you go out of the country and you're having these surgeries done and you have not done your research and you don't really know what to, what to expect, and you haven't done the research, then you are running the risk, and you are running, taking a great risk of, something happening. I knew I was going to get a breast reduction long before I even moved to DC. I had started doing the research. I had, started looking into it and things like that. And it took years for it to actually, materialize or whatever. But this is not something that I just knew, I woke up one day and said, this is something that I want to do. No, I did research, and I knew exactly what I wanted to have done. I knew exactly how I wanted my breast done because I basically guided the doctor and told him what I wanted, not what he wanted, because I was so knowledgeable of, the process and the procedure. And a lot of people don't know when you get, like breast, you get your breast done, they can remove your nipples or they can leave your nipples on attached to the nerve. And he was like, do you want me to remove your nipples? I was like, no, I don't want you to remove my nipples. I want them to stay attached to the nerve because if they remove them and put them back, there's no guarantee that the blood flow is going to go back into your nipples and they're just there. And then that within itself could cause, cancer and, other things, like take place and stuff like that. So with any type of anything, you have to do your research. And, like you said, all these people are dying to be black, and some blacks are dying to be, look like that Kardashian. And they're not doing what they need to do medically in terms to be approved to get these surgeries done here in the States. So they'll go out the country to get them done. Yes, they're going to take your money. Yes, they're going to put you on the table. But at what cost? We've had a lot of people who have lost their lives because of them not doing research. I don't know if you recall back in New York when the lady was injecting people with what was it, silicone or something cement in their butts, and they were killing people. But you go into a hotel room and let this woman inject this stuff into your body, and it's a foreign substance. I'm just like, come on now. At some point,
well, Cardi B is very known in, like you said, the black market. When you think of people getting, yesterday I watched a multi-millionaire talked about getting a legal butt shot, and she's actually famous MLM Stormy Wellington. Coach
Stormy was actually on one of the shows that we have on the network. So Stormy was actually featured with I'll think of the show in a minute, but it's the Real Girls Rock. So she was actually a guest on Real Girl Rock about 3 weeks ago, and all in that space. And she is very adamant in some of her viewpoints and all along those lines.
So she posted on the network yesterday saying that she went to Colombia and was in this as a stripper, and strippers will tell you they're very known. Their money is, and drag queens, and so I think you have a certain type of clientele that initially could only be the one having it, and we begin to follow that. You remember Botch, those two famous plastic surgeons, and they will come in, and you'll be amazing. You're telling me you're letting someone meet you in a hotel, put something in your body, and you don't know what it is. Cardi B to this day tell you, I don't know what that person put in my ass. K. Michelle made she almost died behind that. And so initially this was a certain segment of the community.
Ida, quick question. By the way, you can tell your folks that there was some sort of glitch going on, but I have finished and fixed the glitch. So if they go to podtv.tv, because I know I just texted, they will see us compensating and all along those lines. So whatever glitch was going on has been corrected and fixed. So we'll make sure that doesn't happen in the future as well, but they can definitely do that. But I was wondering if your thoughts around what goes on with folks when they get older and they decide to do some radical things and all in that space, because there is a woman, not necessarily a woman of color, but she is getting some flack because of some of the things that she has worn and everything. So I think that Susan Sarandon has gotten some flack because of a certain outfit, and she is well in the older age and all in that space. So I just wonder what y'all's thoughts are when people that are
be good, T. Be good when you answer this.
Some flack are going to a movie.
You go first. You go first, T. Be good. Don't do it. Don't do it, T.
I'm gonna just tell you like this. You know what I'm saying? When I'm in the designer stores, you're not swiping your card and you're not paying my bill. So at the end of the day, you can't tell me what to wear. You know what I'm saying? If I feel confident in it and I want to wear it, I'm gonna wear it. And that's just the bottom line. So, my thing is, if she want to go out there half-ass naked, that's her. What's it to you? I get so angry when, people are like, oh, you're Pastor Sibley's daughter. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do that. What, live? You know what I'm saying? So
let them know you for the street. You let them know you for the street.
I let them know I'm for the street. I let them know I'm for the street. But the thing about it is, I'm just like, even now at 49, people are like, well, you're 49. You're not supposed to dress like that. You're supposed to act your age. How the hell I'm supposed to know how to act at 49? You know what I'm saying? I've never been 49 before. I've only been 49 for a month. No, I'm just joking. I've only been 49 for a month. So I'm just saying, but at the end of the day, if I want to wear it, I'm gonna wear it. And that's just the bottom line, because I'm very confident within myself. And people, a lot of people equate your clothes to being hoish, or you being fast. My clothes don't make me hoish. You better check them bras in the church. That's the ones that's the hoes. And that's the ones that's over there sleeping with the dick.
Where's my pearls? Where are my invisible pearls?
It's not the people that's open and dressing. Oh, you clutching your pearls. It's
my
not
invisible pearls.
And dressing and being themselves and living life and doing what they want to do. It's not necessarily those people, but society has placed stigmas on top of women that oh, they're supposed to look a certain way, they're supposed to do this, they're supposed to do that. I do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? When you start purchasing my clothes, when you go to Louis with me, go to Gucci, Balenciaga, Giuseppe, when you start buying some of that stuff, then only then I may allow you to have an opinion on what I can and cannot wear. But I said may, because at the end of the day, I'm still my own person and I still do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? So girls, what the hell you want to wear? They're going to talk about you if you do, and they're going to talk about it if you don't. At the end of the day.
When I think of that statement, the first thing come to my mind is double standard and generation. I think Beyonce, you have one person right now that just died, R.I.P. Tina Turner. Tina Turner could wear short dresses and she probably was even buried in a short dress. I think when we look at women as sex appeal, as we looked at our mother and grandmothers and different stuff, culturally, you just had certain values imposed on, and a lot of times these values are imposed by other women, not men. Men are distinguished, and then at some point people say, oh, she needs to go somewhere, sit down, put some more clothes on. And so when you think of Lena Horne or Dorothy Dandruff, you think of women that ooze sex appeal. Eartha Kitt, you have some people that did it. And we have family members and friends that my aunt is 70 years old. She still can rock some stilettos. And that had been her thing. And what she would say when she came in the room with all her accolades, they would say, Irene need to go and put on some clothes. This woman's a business owner. She's a multi-millionaire. But the women would be offended that she would be her all the time. She would be, and that was part of her persona. It wasn't that Dr. A, that's when I think of Dr. A, I think of a person with not a lot of clothes. So that's how I've known all my life. So when I say with a lot of clothes, I know she at school or something, or she's somewhere else. And I think some people can do it well. When you think of sex, because really it's about sex appeal, and Black women always coming back to that slave, the master, and we were always taught to cover up from head to toes, and then you get into the religious aspect. But do I think someone should be able to do whatever they want to when they want to do? Yes. When I think of my mother at 50, my grandmother at 50, they was calling them Miss, Ma'am, Miss, and they needed that because they were part of a certain community. But as we have a look at generation, what generation are we in? The millennium, baby X, but it's so many. But culturally, we are breaking away from a lot of things. 50 years ago, our parents and our mothers and grandmothers would stay at home. We're the most professional, educated people. Once again, the Black woman. So we are the trendsetter. We are the forerunner. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Dr. A and I talked about it. And I don't believe in perpetuating Black woman magic, because that can also put us in a hole that we can't get out of. I think people have the right to do whatever they want to. I got a tummy tuck for my 50th birthday. I woke up, unlike Dr. A, it was Monday, Friday. I woke up on the table and I was done. It didn't take a whole bunch. I asked the personal trainer, how many damn stomach crunches don't have to do? He said, not enough. I said, right on. And I did what I did. And when I went out, I went to work and people were like, oh, how dare you? But because I was part of my personality, I was a risk taker. People did come secretly. Where do you go? You're brave. But 50, I wouldn't dare do. I said, well, and then so I was in the office for the fall, and it was a 70-year-old woman there getting a full-blown facelift. Remember Joan Rivers, you had some people that did it to the grave. And so we decide as women, we police other women. And so she looked like Cicely Tyson, and she was 70 years old. And she said, "What do you think?" I said, "You look gorgeous." She said, "Oh, my children, they said, Grandma, you too old. You should use that money, whatever." I said, "I'm going to leave $1 in my bank account." I said, and she said, they said, "What was the most painful part?" I said, "Swiping my MasterCard and calling Navy Federal and telling them it wasn't fraud." And they said, "What?" I said, "I should have did this a long time ago." And so it's a balancing act of when something get in your mind that you want to do to honor yourself, whether it's getting an education, buying a house. And I think like Dr. A said, we tend to let people whisper and get in our ear. And then, want to hear something funny. Half of the mofo that was judging me when they got a tummy tuck or got something done, and the other had already got something done and never told me because they didn't want to be judged. I'm like, girl,
I don't even think it was about the being judged. I think it was just about secretly hating. You know what I'm saying? Because when people tell you, "Oh, if I was you, I wouldn't do that," but you're not me. So I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And I find like a lot of women always hate on other women, because ever since I was a little girl, I have received so much hate from other women, other Black women, and now I'm receiving it from the white women, the Hispanics, and the Asians, because they're like, "Damn, this bitch 49, I can't believe this." You know what I'm saying? So they don't think that I'm the age that I am or whatever, because I can pass through different generations or whatever. But like you said, it's about the women policing the women or whatever, and I don't allow them to police me. I don't allow them to do anything, because at the end of the day, I'm grown. I pay my own bills. I live in my own house, and when I go shopping, you don't pay my bills. So I let them know that off the break. You know what I'm saying? We're not about to discuss anything over here remotely dealing with me and what I got going on, unless I want to discuss it and I want you to know about it. For example, I'm in a lot of these groups on social media or whatever, and they were talking about a person is going to get married. Should she tell the students, and should she tell the teachers at work? Why are you telling them about anything? That's your personal life. They don't need to know every detail about your personal life. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't mix and mingle like that at work. Work is work.
Don't you have some people that are too quick to reveal their intimate knowledge and their intimate things? You got people that will practically tell you who they slept with, how they slept with them, and what they did. And I agree that is a lot of stuff. But we don't need to know. But you got some folks that like to boast and brag, or they like to talk about what they did, and half the time they're probably lying anyway, because they probably didn't do half of what they claimed that they did, and in that space. But you do have some folks that got some serious insecurities, so they do things along those lines. We said we are going to get to another issue, and it's a sports related issue, so it's okay.
It's okay.
Everything, and
so great. Yeah,
obviously we might get to it as well. But Shannon Sharpe, it was going at it with one of his people, and all of those.
Roll the clip.
I wanted to roll the video, and then we can talk about the video after this incident. So let's roll the video, and then I've got something about a woke athlete as well. But let's check out this one about Shannon Sharpe and see what Shannon Sharpe's got to say about what's going on.
Still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
Skip, that's what you do.
That's the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something into question, I'm jealous.
No,
Skip, I did what I did.
I never said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Skip, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I got 3 Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
I'm better than you.
Better.
Skip, what did I got to see what you do? You take personal shots.
No, I don't take personal shots. You started it.
Time out. You would take a personal shot at me.
I didn't take a personal shot at you.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
You would take a personal.
Put your glasses back on.
Can I finish? You're willing to take a personal shot at me to say this man is better than me because I say he's playing bad this year?
Well, because you just
Go ahead.
You disrespect him. It's just so.
You
know what? It's beneath your dignity.
You would disrespect me to support him.
No, well, I'll support him over anybody because he's the greatest player who ever played your game, and it's by far.
Have at it.
Okay,
Take off,
I'm going to have at it.
Shannon Sharpe from Undisputed was bought out of his contract and will no longer be partners with Skip Bayless to debate sports. A lot of people out there are predicting that Shannon Sharpe will sign with ESPN and will make guest appearances on ESPN First Take. So how exactly did this happen? Well, Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless went through a rough patch that started with the Damar Hamlin tweet from Skip and included Skip Bayless taking a personal shot at Shannon Sharpe to defend Tom Brady, which was really weird. But everything supposedly worked out when Shannon Sharpe said this on Mad Dog Radio.
We can disagree, but I want to color between the lines. I don't want the disagreement to go outside of the lines and where it becomes...
And you thought there for a little while it did?
Yeah, I did. I think everybody thought that.
I did not realize that. And, you know, Skip has a, you know, up and down reputation. Overall, though, he's done a great job for your career.
Yeah.
Stephen A. swears by him, too.
Yeah, man. He's done a great job by my career. I don't have a career really in the media. I wasn't willing to throw the 2 months that Skip and we disagreed a lot. Sometimes I think things went over the line.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm learning something.
And so I didn't want that.
That was some of the argument and all along that line. But what is y'all's take on that? Apparently, Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless were going at it, and I know that now there is talk as to whether he'll appear on another network or how this will all play out in the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think he should have left a long time ago because he's white people and he's doing what white people do. You know, he's Skip Bayless is supporting Tom Brady, who I don't think is a great athlete at all. You know, he's a cheater, but you know, because had it would have been Sierra's husband, you know, they wouldn't let him keep his Super Bowl title if he would have had deflated footballs and things like that. And I just don't think he's all what he's cracked up to be. You know, Shannon Sharpe has a proven record. And he is a great football player, but I think that, you know, he was being very disrespectful to Skip was being very disrespectful to Shannon. He basically wanted to say he was better than him because he was white, you know, because a couple of times when you heard him speak, he had to catch himself and he had to stop to, you know, to keep from saying certain things or whatever, because at the end of the day, when they get mad, it's all going to show. It's all gonna come out. Their true feelings is gonna come out. No matter how much they say, oh, I'm not racist, I'm not this, I'm not that. Let them get mad. Put them in a situation, just like he put him in a situation, and it clearly shows. So I'm glad Shannon Sharpe has left this show, and I hope his show plummets because I think Shannon Sharpe made the show, and I didn't think that Skip Bayless, you know, overall commentary was at the level where Shannon Sharpe is, and I'm not just saying this because Shannon Sharpe is black or whatever. I just don't think he's a good host. And you know, a lot of times when I used to I used to watch the show because I used to have a crush on Shannon Sharpe until I found out he liked white women. Then that just totally just dissipated. So even when I watched the show, I didn't think that, you know, his commentary was, you know, like up to par or whatever. But, you know, again, this is a prime example of how white people, white men, white women can be mediocre and do mediocre things, but get, you know, the recognition and the status and the money and, you know, things like that. This is a prime example or whatever. Because, you know,
along those same lines, and this is actually involving something that happened here in North Carolina. And I'm not saying that the bikers were right and all of that, but you know, folks, like when they are young, they like to ride three-wheelers and they like to ride the regular bikes and do stunts and things of that nature. And I do know that some of them made it from the Bull City, or what we call Durham, for it's a regular name, to Raleigh. And there were some people that were thinking that this was a gang of kids because they rolled into Raleigh. And I'm not saying that they didn't destroy things in the yard and everything, but it is always a gang situation when we come into a group. So is that kind of a stereotype that folks have, that they automatically assume that if a group of us come together, that it's got to be a gang situation? Because when I heard some of the Twitters and some of the comments about this incident, they were trying to make it seem like that it was a gang, and I personally think it's just a group of kids that got together and went riding. They may have a common bond. They may have a common bond around the loss of a friend from a year or two ago, and all of that space. I'm not saying that they follow the rules, because my brother is part of a Polaris club, and I know that sometimes they don't always follow the rules, and I'm sure that even goes on in DC and New Orleans. But
it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Anytime it's more than two of us, three of us, we're considered a gang. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they just perceive us in a different capacity, in a different light, regardless of what they were riding and where they were going. They have the right and they have the freedom to do so. But again, white people, and they always want to, you know, tell black people what they can and cannot do and things like that. And, you know, I'm always quick to say, don't let Trump get your ass whooped, because you're not dealing with you're not dealing with the ancestors and, you know, people who are going to be docile and let you just walk all over them. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you're dealing with people who are very voiceful and who's going to, you know, stick up and stand up for, you know, what they believe in, and let them know that, you know, the way that they're being treated is not acceptable. And you know, at the end of the day, we just have to hold them accountable. And then, you know, the thing that they do is, for example, Skip, you know, he was playing clueless. No, you know exactly what you were doing. You were gaslighting the situation. You took personal shots at Shannon Sharpe and said that, you know, he was not a great NFL player. This man is in the Hall of Fame. He has 3 rings. So how can you, you know, take personal shots at this man? So
he should not have taken personal shots. I agree with you on that. But the other thing that happened
in gaslighting, he was gaslighting him, and then he tried to downplay it. You know what I'm saying? But that's what they do. Because I don't think Tom Brady is a good.
No, Tom Brady. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. Never was, even though he was a fantasy quarterback of mine a couple of times.
He is not a good player for me. And you know, after the whole, you know, greatest, he's the GOAT. No, he's not the GOAT. He's a damn cheater. That's what he is. Because he cheated. Because any other time,
he definitely cheated. Hey, I did have another quick question for y'all, and we got another video. Before we get to the other video, I was going to ask you.
Hold on one second. If that black quarterback had done the same exact thing that Tom Brady did, guess what? His ass probably wouldn't even be in the league, and he would not have a Super Bowl ring. Just like the basketball player who showed the gun. Now you got white people who are in the NBA on social media all day long with their guns, so he can't exercise his Second Amendment right. So that they fined him and then they benched him, so he can't exercise his Second Amendment right. Come on now.
No, I hear you. You've got a point. There are some folks that do regular hunting. As a matter of fact, I think Brett Favre is a regular hunter, and he's supposed to be one of those great quarterbacks as well. But I do think that he's hunting there in both Mississippi as well as other places. But, you know, one of the great stars of American Idol is now back to busking, and you know that's where you hustle the New York subways and everything. So
I've seen that all
around this because definitely Samantha Just Sam Diaz, who won Idol back in May 2020, is now back busking in New York City subways, and she definitely revealed that back in May on her Instagram. But I was just wondering y'all's thoughts about folks that had some tremendous success there for a minute, but apparently the success was fleeting. So she said, that's it. And my grandmother will never experience the same struggles again. She was talking about how that was going to be that golden ticket when she won and everything. And really, that's not what it was. It was also difficult because I was the only American Idol in history to win in the beginning of COVID, and everything was shut down. People didn't want to work directly in studios right away. People were trying to figure out how to get back to whatever normal was going to be for us then. It took a few months before I even got into the studio, which sucked, and I was living out of a hotel. So she is back to trying to hustle what way she can to make money, and hopefully that break will come in some form or fashion. But it does look like she won that title at a bad time to be winning and all, and that's
She's a sister, young sister.
She's a sister. She's a sister.
Oh, okay, I was just making sure I recall the right person or whatever. But I mean, I think COVID was an excuse because you had social media. Everybody was populated on social media. You know what I'm saying? So if you're out there singing, you could have posted videos. You could have, you know, interacted with your folks on Instagram and, you know, all those things. You could have done certain things. A lot of stuff didn't shut down. They were still making movies.
I disagree with that, because I'm surprised you said
they were still in the studios. No, they still did movies. They sold movies on Netflix. They sold movies on Disney, and they produced those movies in studio. So for her to say that, you know, COVID stopped her, it may have limited her in a certain capacity, but it shouldn't have totally stopped you. You know what I'm saying? I just think maybe she had the wrong people in her corner and the wrong people advising her, and that caused her career to plummet.
Well, I think first of all, until today, most of us hadn't heard of the young lady. Most of us stopped watching American Idol after between Fantasia, Ruben Studdard, and Jennifer Hudson. I personally have not watched American Idol, and I think Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, and I can't remember the third judge. So I think the sad part for her, whether it was a double thing, she just came in at the wrong time. They didn't really market her the way everybody else. And should this be, you remember the guy from the Cosby Show? He was married to the young lady, and they found him working at Trader Joe or something. And people said, how did you come from being one of the most recognized Black actors to being here? what fell between the cracks, and so this is giving her the traction she needs. Now, did they market her the way they would have marketed her? They did not. Like I said, up until a week ago when I seen on the news, I didn't know who the girl was. I said, who?
But speaking of marketing, hold on a second. Speaking of marketing, there is a very popular show that is going on, and I don't remember if they had another sister that has been there, and if there was one, y'all can tell me. But are y'all concerned that at the end of the day that Charity Lawson is going to wind up with a white gentleman and everything, because she is the new face of the Bachelorette, and she definitely looks like an attractive young lady, but she is going up with two single fathers, a tennis pro, a pro wrestler, and underwater welder, and even a yacht captain. So that is who might be picking her as the Bachelorette, and this is a 27-year-old who is also a family therapist there from Georgia. So it's the first time I ever heard about Lawson. What is your thought about her as the Bachelorette, and who would they wind up picking her with and everything?
I think anybody that goes those shows, we try to make our own version. Ready to Love, we try to make our own happy Cinderella story. And when you think of The Bachelor, it's been a predominantly white show for predominantly white people. And every now and then they'll pepper in a black person that don't date black people to partner up. And so they're trying to remember a couple of years ago, it was a lot of backlash with, I think, the moderator or the one that made a lot of racist statements. So they need black people. Once again, Dr. A and I agree. We're the number one consumer of TV, Netflix. So they need a certain, from a marketing point, they need black people to start watching that. But when I think about a black woman going on a white America TV, and most of the gentlemen are white, right? You remember Flavor Ready to Love. And when we do go on these shows, we are either a butt of the joke, we make and do I think interracial relationships are very prevalent? But also, when I think of these people, they are also trying to be discovered no more than a reality show. They have a long-term line of what's in it for me to be. I think sometimes it can be very difficult to be the first black in certain situation from social media, because if it's not leveraged correctly, just like the young black, I think it works against black women. We're very territorial about black women, and some of us feel uneasy. So you're going on a show that's predominantly white, and you're going to marry a white man. You're going to pick a white man. Maybe that's your preference anyway. But they are doing it to, I think they had a black guy on there right before, right?
There is a brother. There's at least one brother on there.
I don't watch the show.
I know you don't watch the show because it's interracial. And so, I always look at things from a marketing point of view. If that was my young lady and I was marketing her, I said, are you ready for the backlash? Even I would say, why isn't there more black people on here? And is she obligated to pick a black man? Just like a couple of weeks ago, your girl, Debrat, she got a sperm donor. It was 300, and it was only one black guy. And she made all these inappropriate jokes about the black male sperm donor. And then she had to backtrack off of that. Once again, when we have opportunity in white America to pick each other, we tend to not pick each other. And so she's going on a show that's on whatever network, which is a predominantly white network. And she falls in the middle of what we call Becky or Tiffany in the black community. We know she might not really rock with us. She's not hood. We want it to be a success, but black people, even though black women, we are the most underrated, undeserved, but we are still the queen of the black community. Black people, it's a thin line. Like when we fell in love with Love is Blind, and that sister fell in love with that white guy. It was a true story, but they talked about that hate they get. We are very protective of our black women. See, when a black man go over there, we say, oh, he wants a trophy wife. But if Dr. A went on a predominantly white show and y'all line her up with a bunch of white men, we'll become angry at her first. We will dissect her. Why, but we have conceded that our black brothers are going to go with another race. We have conceded. We just conceded that, we not going to get picked, and even when we watch these shows that deal with love and black women, we never win. We never win. We watch, they had this celebrity show, Tamar, what was that show? Tamar Braxton, and they had these white men, and it's unfortunate. I think when it comes to relationships, Yana Van Zandt did a best Fix My Life, and we talk about the issues in the black community when it comes to relationships and love, and we never win. We never win at it.
We don't win on a lot of things, because even speaking around issues and everything, there was a very successful play that dealt with an issue that is now about to be revived, and some people are saying that it is a timely revival, but there are some people that are also calling it a very sterile revival, because maybe it's not tackling the issues the way that they want people to tackle them. And I am talking about A Soldier's Play, which is definitely a play and a movie and a number of other things that definitely got a lot of attention, and now folks are kind of critiquing it because they're thinking that it isn't dealing with some of the issues that were out there that made that a popular production and all in that space. So I was wondering your thoughts as you were in the military, Ida, when people are complaining.
But even thinking about last week, Little Mermaid came on. That young, beautiful black girl, Halle Bailey, is that her name?
Halle.
Mm-hmm. And she was trolled. They did not want Little Mermaid to be black. They just couldn't conceive white America, Disney. And you remember when Brandy played that character? And when you remember when they made Will Smith the genie in Aladdin, white America has a problem with black queens. We have a problem with it. And when we put these love stories and Othello, when we go into these holes and nobody wants to, black America and white America has that love affair we're not going to be. We're not, and we believe certain people. Like I said, I'm going to watch it and come back on that. But can I just answer about Skip? And I'm a non-sports person, other than Michael Jordan and maybe a couple of people. And non-sports people watch that show because of that black man. We watched that, and he elevated, and you could see, we have seen that you do need. See, me and Dr. A don't get along. We don't have the same views. But you could see at the end of the day, I genuinely respect this person.
Right.
You can see Skip despise Shannon. And they played out that yin and yang to a certain point, and then Skip every time continued to cross it line. So when he looked at this black man, and they just let Tom Brady, who don't know anything about commentary, sign a $325 million contract to be a Shannon Sharpe. And we're going to see how that bodes well.
No, I don't think that's going to play out well at all. Just really quickly, because I know we're winding down, and I know that definitely Dr. A might have some other things that she wants to get to and everything. But I was going to mention something really quickly and everything, because there is a person, and this is actually coming to one of your favorite groups, Miss Ida, and everything, which is this whole notion of the Christian right and everything. But there is a gentleman, and I'm going to play him, and played in sports, but he felt that the whole Black Lives Matter was not something that he could get behind and everything, so he would not kneel. And now he's put out a group and a shirt that he is saying is anti-woke, because it is more along his Christian values. So I'm not going to play the full tape because it's a pretty long tape, but let's hear a little bit about Jonathan Isaac and what he's got to say as he is announcing his woke agenda and what he's going to do with these shirts and shoes and all along those lines. So let's check out what Jonathan Isaac has got going on.
Okay.
Over the past several years, it's become increasingly obvious that people are sick and tired of the woke agenda being shoved down their throats at each and every opportunity, especially when it comes to sports. Because for decades and decades, sports were something that brought people together. Because regardless of what religion you were, what color of your skin was, who you wanted to sleep with, none of that matters because none of it's relevant in sports. All that matters in sports is the players on the field, what team you're rooting for, what city you're from, whatever it may be. That has all been lost in recent years with this progressive push. But it looks like somebody who has already proven they're willing to stand up against the insanity is willing to take a stand once again and try to provide an alternative. We don't have to hide. NBA player Jonathan Isaac launches anti-woke sports apparel brand. Now, Jonathan Isaac, for a lot of you, you may remember Jonathan Isaac as the one sole person who decided to stand during a game in the NBA bubble for the national anthem. Jonathan Isaac refused to kneel. He refused to get on his knees during the national anthem like all these other woke lunatics who just completely went along with it, even if they didn't agree because they were scared of getting canceled. Jonathan Isaac was not scared of that. He stood up for the national anthem. He answered questions about Black Lives Matter. He spoke his mind with no fear. Now, that came with a lot of ridicule from the mainstream sports media, even to the point where people started laughing and applauding and cheering when he got injured very, very badly. But nonetheless, Jonathan Isaac continued to persevere, and now he's providing an alternative to some of these brands like Nike who have gone full woke, whether it's Colin Kaepernick or whether it's using someone like Dylan Mulvaney to try to sell their women's clothing. Jonathan Isaac is saying, we are done with that. We can provide an alternative you can buy from people that don't hate you. NBA player Jonathan Isaac has shown his willingness years ago to stand on the basketball court while others kneel. Now, as corporate America seems determined to bend the knee to the radical left, Isaac is choosing to stand up for his beliefs again, this time by launching an anti-woke apparel brand aimed at supporting conservative values. And we do have this here from Jonathan Isaac. Retail brands have the freedom to go woke. We have the freedom to create an alternative. Unitas launches August 2023. Now, this is from a PragerU doc. This is Amal. I've actually been on.
That's a little bit of what's going on. So he's going to launch a brand that will be very Christian-oriented and will be the counter to what some people say.
Let me go ahead and chop him up real quick.
Wait, chop him up.
Let me go ahead and chop him up. This is what we call a shuck and jive type motherfucker. Okay, so he's shucking and jiving for the white folks because he's talking about he's anti-woke and things like that or whatever, but he don't understand the history of being woke. It's a term that was, termed back in the day when, injustices were taking place and, people were, being mistreated and, things like that or whatever. So he's one of those brothers that we would gladly throw to the other side. We would gladly send his ass over there and wouldn't ask for receipts and wouldn't ask for him to come back. My thing is, you would sell, you talking about Christian values and Christian beliefs. He don't even understand how the white people even, turn the Bible against black people and how the Bible was used against, enslaved people to control them. You don't even understand that, but you talking about you anti-woke and you done created a clothing line. You created a clothing line for the white folks. So let them go out there and buy the anti-woke. We don't give a damn. They can have your ass. You know what I'm saying? Because we going to continue to be woke. And he's one of the ones, the same one that's talking about he's anti-woke and he's doing something with the Christian beliefs or whatever. He'll go out there in society, they'll shoot him down like he's a damn dog, and then his family will come over here talking about, oh, we need your prayers, we need this. Nah, we ain't saying nothing. We not marching for you, we ain't donating to you, and we damn sure ain't praying for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's just another example of, a black man selling his soul and doing stuff to appease, like white people. You know what I'm saying? They have this notion that, woke is the new, anti-woke is the new thing, because Ron DeSantis started it in Florida or whatever, talking about people being woke because he has a direct attack on, black Americans, black history, and the things that we brought into this country. Because what the white people fail to realize is without us, you wouldn't have no country, because y'all unseasoned, illiterate, asses, everything that you have, you stole from, you stole from ancient Egypt and you stole from black people. You know what I'm saying? And even the modernization of, like technology, you got it from black people. Everything, if you go back and you do the research, black people created everything. You had no input in any of this. Electricity, they credited to Benjamin Franklin, but it was actually a brother that created it. You know what I'm saying? So they steal everything from us and then they want to take credit for it. But this is just a prime example of a shucking jive ass motherfucker.
I hear you. Ida, you got any thoughts on that before we get ready to wrap it up? By the way, I didn't mean to mention because
I'm sorry, Ida, that you had to clutch
for the network and all along those lines, but we now have a social media site. So we are also going up against Facebook. So there is a Pod TV website that is social media. So I got to get both you and Ida on that. So you'll be getting an invitation. We have Pod TV Chatter. So we have our own social media site as well. So that is
Well, I'm gonna just let you know, Mark, because we're not gonna have another situation like we had at the other situation, because I come raw and ready. So you have to let people know that Dr. Anthony is not going to sugarcoat anything. So if you're not ready for my commentary and you're not ready for my opinion, don't invite me to be on your show.
Don't invite. Don't.
Not you, Mark. I'm just talking about the other people. Because you don't really know how I roll.
Well, the only thing I agree with, minus the plexivity of her words, I think it's very hard to become a Candace Owens. It's very hard to become a Tim Scott, because when you make a decision, I don't need my own Black community, who is the biggest consumer, so when you become radicalized, I always think of Dave Chappelle when he had the show, and he was a blind Black Negro who didn't know he was Black, and he was one of the biggest racists. And then one day they revealed him at a Ku Klux, and the white people sat and they was appalled. They said, shh, don't tell him. And so, I always look at the marketing angle. You do have a percentage of Blacks that say, I need the white community, because if I can get the backing of them and I can move in a gated community for my Black mammy and all my siblings, I'm going to be all right. Candace Owens and Tim Scott, and you have some other, a very small minority of Blacks openly diamond and silk, and it comes at a price. But you always need, at the end of the day, the white community need the Black community more than we need the verse, and sometimes we don't recognize that. And so, on a good note, one of my favorite activists have decided he's going to run for president. Cornel West, he had thrown it, for the people. I know it's, he's not going to win. Oh, Cornel, I didn't mean that, honey. I didn't mean that. But like I said, I think when people sit down, I see those facial expressions, and I think, when we want to, and also it's about being, woke, cancel society. I think we are enthralled in social media, and social media have infiltrated every aspect of our everyday life. And when people say, can I go against the Black community? But I got to get, so what would I say about Black folks to white folks that they would say? Well, that was a big thing. And like you said, that young man don't want to be educated. He using, and when you sit there and say, and so now, first of all, you're not famous for anything. I didn't even, once again, I didn't know who this dude was until you broke the history up to. And so, when they realize their careers are ending and they're not going to have a legacy, this is not a rabbit hole, brother, you need to go down. I'm not going to do like Dr. A, but once you get down this rabbit hole, Black people, we are forgiving, but we are almost like biblical people. Certain things won't be forgotten. And that's my commentary on that.
Well, I definitely agree with you. That's the only other thing I was going to add real quick is I did have the pleasure, I think I mentioned it on our last show, of hearing Reverend Barbara and Bernie, even though it's only virtually, because Bernie was not able to make it in person because of that whole debt ceiling vote and all along those lines. So it's really good having that visit and having that opportunity to hear them talk about the wages, because the wage is ridiculously low, and we've got to do something about that and all along those lines. So it was good hearing them speak, and it was a powerful speech, even though like I said, I was hoping I would see Bernie in person, but instead I got to hear him virtually. But I did hear Reverend Barbara in person, and Reverend Barbara gave a fiery speech and was talking about the fact that too often in our sermons, one of the main things that is in the Bible is, what are you going to do for the least of these? But a lot of our ministers don't even address that at all. So he was breaking that fact out, that is one of the least talked about sermons, when it should probably be one of the most talked about sermons. But that's just his thoughts, and I can definitely agree with him on that. So I don't know if you have any parting thoughts on that line or anything that you want to say about that item, but I know we're ready to get out of here and Max, get ready to come up.
Back to, I'm so my shirt is almost ruined from clutching these pearls.
I think I almost gave her a heart attack. No, we're just going to end it, and we'll continue with the show on next Monday with talking about the things that I wanted to discuss. We'll go more in depth with the Little Mermaid, the WNBA, being woke, and I also want to talk about Black women support groups. The Black women groups on Facebook and, things like that, or whatever, the pros and the cons. But, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another great episode of the All Around. Make sure you click like and share so we can get those YouTube views up. and we are, broadcasted in 15 different countries? Is it 15 different countries?
Like 200 and something different countries.
Oh, 200. So now it's up to 200 something countries in 200 different languages. So make sure you tune in at www.podtv.tv. And, the clock on the wall said that's all, y'all. So we will see you guys next Monday.
Sounds good. Let's get on out of here.
Bye.
What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves.